Hello, everyone. Most of you know where we're located within Body Institute. Many of you probably don't know that we are located within the beautiful wellness space called the Good Hub. And I wanted to introduce you today to one of the practitioners that we work with very closely within the Good Hub, because the Good Hub is home to a bunch of fantastic wellness practitioners, and Suzanne Ingleton is one of them. We work very closely with Suzanne Ingleton. She's an eating psychology coach and a hypnotherapist. What we do with Suzanne, we share a lot of clients, and we do get together really regularly to discuss the progress of our clients and how we can better help them. Suzanne, can you tell us a little more about how you work as an eating psychology coach and a hypnotherapist?
Yes, absolutely. And yes, it is a bit of a mouthful. But look, I really enjoy working with your clients because, you know, we're very aligned. But essentially what I do as an eating psychology coach and hypnotherapist is I work with the language of the mind, because mostly people will have come to the understanding or the conclusion that at some point they know what they need to do, they just can't do it for whatever reason. You know, we have all the reasons in the world to know what we have to do, but for some reason something blocks us. And essentially what that is, it's our mind. And what I do is I help to change people's mindset around their thinking, so it makes it a lot easier for them to achieve their goals. And I specialize with women who are looking to get some help with weight loss, because, you know, they all know what they should be doing. They've probably been dieting for decades and doing it for years and just getting on the same old dieting merry-go-round, and, you know, that horrible cycle. And it just doesn't go anywhere. And they essentially, 99% of women who go on a diet will then, you know, put it back on plus more within 12 months. And that's not a nice place to be. I want to get them out of that mouse wheel, that horrible cyclic thing that they get into. But, you know, when I'm working with your clients, Karina, and, you know, we, as you say, we cross-refer clients, it's really about getting to the root cause of what's going on for them that is really preventing them from achieving their goals, or, you know, making the necessary changes that they need to make. Because I guess we know if we don't take action, nothing changes. And that's the definition of insanity. If we keep doing the same thing all the time, we're just going to get the same result. And that's just not a nice place to be.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's something that we really notice with our clients when we talk to them about making diet changes. There can be some real blocks and some real barriers, or like you said, they'll make those changes really temporarily. They know what they should be doing, and they'll jump on board and then they'll fall off. They'll jump on board and they'll fall off, or they know the things that they need to do and they just have a real block around doing that and making those changes. So can you explain a little bit more about how you help with that?
Yeah, sure. So in dealing with the mind, we're actually delving into the unconscious mind, and reprogramming how people are thinking, because we are all programmed in some way or another in the subconscious mind to think and act a certain way. And a lot of it has stemmed from childhood and, you know, our environmental influences, whether that be parent, caregiver, or anyone else significant in our life. And so between the ages of 0 and 7 years old, for instance, you know, we as children are like little sponges. We take everything in on board in our mind, and we know we don't know what's right from wrong. We just do, and we create all these thoughts and feelings and habits and emotions around certain things that happen at that stage. And then from between the age of 7 and 14, we're looking at more of modeling behaviors from others. So, you know, we might see our mum constantly thinking about dieting, or constantly talking about, you know, I look this or I look that. You know, I know my mum had she would always brag about when she was 21, she had a 22-inch waist, which is like this big. I don't know how you fit anything in there. But, you know, I grew up with that. You had to have a little body. And you know, over time, if we have these beliefs ingrained in us, whether they be positive or negative beliefs, they actually stick in the subconscious part of our mind. And so that can lead to all sorts of different eating disorders, because we believe that we have to be a certain way, or we have to act a certain way. Or there may be some unconscious program that's running underneath the level, you know, the surface level, that we're not even consciously aware of. Because the interesting fact is, with our brains, we only use 5% of our conscious thinking awareness. Like, our critical thinking is just a very tiny amount of the capacity of the brain. 90% of our awareness and, you know, all of our behaviors, our habits, and where our emotions come from are housed in the unconscious part of the brain. And because this holds the most real estate in our head, well, it's got the most drive. You know, it just really controls what we do or what we don't do. And so with hypnosis and understanding the psychology of eating, you know, why we do certain things. For instance, you know, we're just, as humans, we're wired to seek pleasure to avoid pain. And oftentimes food is very pleasurable, as it should be. But, you know, if we eat too much of it, or go to food for the wrong reasons, then we're setting up different triggers and habits that are very hard to break. But in the realms of the subconscious mind, we can break those habits. And I do that using hypnosis and helping people to understand how their mind is working, and that in fact you can change some of those thoughts that are coming through, that you think that, you know, you're being controlled or food is controlling you. You know, I can help people to understand that they actually do have choice. And once we get the subconscious mind on board, it's a much easier process to actually make those conscious choices. Because instead of headbutting, you know, this little tiny conscious part and this big subconscious part, you know, this wants to do something, this is going, no, you know, we've always done it a certain way. When we've got this big part on board, they're no longer headbutting, they're working together. So they're in alignment, and it just makes everything so much easier.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Suzanne, I know that weight loss is your big passion, and that's your area that you really want to work with. Yeah. And we fully appreciate that bodies come in, you know, all different shapes and all different sizes. And so, you know, I really am conscious of making sure that that our message isn't, you know, you need to be a size 8 or a size 6, or you need to have this perfectly portioned body. But what we see a lot in our clinic is we work with a lot of hormonal imbalances. We work with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which often is a really big driver for things like acne, which I love treating. And we also see a lot of digestive dysfunction. And typically part of that can be, a contributing factor to some of these things can be excess weight. And so we know that if we can nail the diet, and if we can really nail those changes and have people consciously making those changes and adhering to them, we know that we get better results in the long term. And the weight loss is just I guess a beautiful bonus for a lot of people to that. So can you kind of explain how you would work with our clients in that way? And what an appointment would look like if they were to come to you, or when we refer to you, what that kind of process looks like for our clients?
Yeah, sure. Essentially, the aim is to find out, well, what's the root cause, what is really going on? Because as you mentioned, weight loss can be a beautiful byproduct of, you know, the treatments and things that, you know, the reasons that they're going to see you. But also weight gain can be a symptom of something else that's going on in their mind, in their life. And so therefore we need to get to the root cause of what it is. And oftentimes it boils down to some kind of stressful situation, event, thought process, negative thoughts that are going on in their life that they've just been so used to dealing with and you know, they haven't actually been mindful of what they're doing, because their emotions often drive their behaviors from an unconscious level. So then it's, you know, very mindless. But the result is either breakout in the skin. So, often with those types of conditions, and psoriasis being one of them, that it's their emotions that really, and the stress response, which is the fight or flight, the chemical reactions in the body, which cause the breakout. And that stems from in here. It's what's going on in our mind. And, we often can't control what's going on around us, but we can control what's going on in our mind. And so what I do is I bring awareness to how they're doing their problem. So if we look at, what's going on for them, well, we need to find out what the root cause of that is. And often, the clients that come to see me for help with weight, halfway through, maybe 2 or 3 sessions down the track, they'll go, oh, actually, Suzanne, it's not my weight that's my problem. It's the other stuff. It's either a relationship thing, or it's a work thing, or it's a something else thing. It's an old thing that happened many, many years ago that keeps coming back in from an emotional, space that is triggering their body to get into this fight or flight response and have these major hormonal changes, which cause the external, problems that we have, whether it be weight gain or skin issues. So that's where we start the work. I do a really big deep dive. Firstly, I help to, when I'm sending my clients your way, I help to clean up their food, and then you guys then help to really define what's going on from a hormonal level and a gut level, because we know that, the mind affects the gut, the processing of the gut and the microbiome and the food, and the gut affects the mind. And so then it's this horrible cycle. So we need to sort of circumnavigate it and, nip it in the bud at one of those ends for the other one to start functioning, in a way that's helpful. So yeah, it's very much a process. It's a really big deep dive. What's really going on for you? And I ask questions in a way that is designed to get the thinking mind out of the problem, because we're always stuck in, oh, I don't feel good, and I'm not this, and I'm not that, and I hate this. But we need to look at it, well, how do you do your problem? When do you do your problem? Yeah. When do you not do your problem? So, we can start to unravel this problem, because, we'll all hang on to our problems really hard. We'll hang on to it really tightly, but that's not going to solve it. So once we bring awareness to what's going on in life or relationship, or, whatever's happening for them, then we can start to identify where we need to start letting go of some big emotions, because it's from an emotional space. The emotion drives behaviors, and when we get a handle on that emotion, then we can get to see some sense of balance and clarity in thought processes. Because when we're stuck in an emotion, we don't think very clearly. It's just very clouded. So we need to understand how to bring someone out of that emotion, think from a clearer level, but also look at addressing the different components and pulling it apart. So, the end result is, often it's just a byproduct that they want, the weight loss, but it's a byproduct of something else that's going on. The skin and everything will clear up, gut issues will clear up when something else has been resolved. So as you know, we both don't take a Band-Aid approach. We need to find out the reason that it's happening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Suzanne, I guess there's a bit of stigma around hypnotherapy, and maybe a lack of awareness around what would actually happen in a session. Are you able to talk us through what would happen in a session, or show us how a session would run?
Yes. Well, I can give you a quick snippet. In fact, Karina, I can actually take you through a very short hypnosis session. Would you like that?
Amazing. Sure.
Yeah. So, essentially, hypnosis is a very natural state. In fact, it's a state of trance. And the trance state is something that we experience every day, particularly if we watch TV. So it's really a state of focused awareness, and meaning we're just very focused on what we're watching, and anything that comes in externally of that, like, someone might come in, if you're watching that, TV, and someone might say, well, get up and get me a cup of tea or something of that nature, you might go, oh yeah, I'll do that in the next commercial. Like, you're not willing to just jump up and do something, unless of course it was something that was life-threatening. But we're just in a relaxed state. So trance is very relaxed. We're very relaxed when watching TV generally. We're very focused on what's going on the little screen in front of us. And this is where, when we're in a relaxed state, our mind actually also goes into obviously a relaxed state, which is very programmable. And by that I mean companies will spend billions and billions of dollars to advertise their product on TV, because we are in such a focused state. Our mind is very programmable in that state. And this is where, under hypnosis, I can take you to a place of deep relaxation, where your conscious mind will actually drift and wander. It might just be going all over the place. But your subconscious mind will be in a state that's actually listening to me, and it will take on the suggestions. Now, I can't turn you into a chicken, Karina. I don't know if you're expecting that. With hypnosis, and I'm not a stage hypnotist, that they're a completely different kettle of fish, same principles, but I don't use their techniques. But I can only hypnotize someone that wants to be hypnotized, and I can only make them do, or help them, I can only help them to do something that they want to do. So presumably you don't want to be a chicken today.
No, thank you.
So no, I'm not going to do that. But presumably you do want to experience what hypnosis is like. And so when people are open to trying out and, finding out more about hypnosis, well, they are open to something different. And they're there to support whatever reason they're there to get help with. And just by the fact that they are in this room, wanting to get some help with weight in whichever way that is for them, they're willing to be open-minded, and they're willing to listen to my instructions. This is another very important part, because I will hear a lot of people say, oh, no, hypnosis didn't work for me. And essentially that's because they weren't willing to follow instructions, because it's really, really simple. It's very easy. It's very relaxing. And the feeling of hypnosis, and if you've ever done any meditating, it's very much like that. It's a state of, beautiful relaxation, mind and body, but you can still hear everything that's going on. You can hear all the sounds around you. You can hear the sound of my voice, but you're not tempted to quickly open up your eyes and find out what's happening. You're just in a state where you're ready to follow instructions and to be totally relaxed. So for that reason, I can't turn you into a chicken, because you don't want to be a chicken. You don't believe that will happen for you. What you do need to believe is that you can follow a process, follow instructions, and that you can support your own success in achieving whatever you want to achieve. So I would be explaining, as we have, over the last few minutes, that there are two parts of the mind, and it's this subconscious bit that's just driving all the behaviors, and we need to get that bit under control so it can support the smaller part that wants to make the change. So it's very much, hypnosis is very much about following instructions, believing that it's going to work, knowing that I can't do anything that you don't want to do. And the feeling and the experience of hypnosis is just a state of relaxation. So there's no experience of, floating around on the ceiling or having some sort of out of body thing going on, which I find that some people will say, oh, that's not what I expected. And that's very much about, when you're with a hypnotherapist, for them to explain what the sensations are going to be like, because the last thing I want is for my client to be sitting there with their eyes closed going, oh, is it working? Is it working? I don't know. Is this right? I don't know what's going on. Yeah. So therefore, it's not going to be helpful for them to achieve their outcome. And of course, whatever the outcome they are wanting, I would have discussed that with them before we take them into a state of hypnotic trance, which takes a fairly, I generally, when I'm doing a hypnosis session for a particular outcome, I'll take them through a fairly lengthy relaxation process, and it's just beautiful and relaxing. And then we get to the guts of it, pardon the pun, but we get to the nitty gritty of, why they're there and how to talk to and talk to the subconscious mind to make those changes. But initially, it's just a very simple process. Anyone can be hypnotized. We all experience a state of trance, even if you didn't watch TV, and I don't watch much TV, but we're also in trance state when the first thing you do when you're aware that you're awake in the morning, you just have a moment of awareness, but you're not jumping out of bed straight away. You're focused, you're awake, you're aware. The other time is just before you go to sleep. Your mind, drops down into that beautiful theta state, which is also called the healing state. And there's no way once you're in bed and drifting off to sleep that you're going to get up and go anywhere unless there's an emergency. But it's just that very subtle state. But it's more so with hypnosis being able to work for people is that you are willing and open and trusting enough to follow the instructions that the hypnotist or the hypnotherapist provides to you.
Yeah. Amazing. I think it's very obvious that you're extremely passionate about what you do, Suzanne.
Oh, thank you. I do. I love it. I love seeing people just come and sit in my beautiful comfy chair and just wake up and going, oh, wow, this is amazing. I just feel so good, And then I will get text messages about, all of a sudden they're just, they've cleaned out their pantry. They've gone and got all this beautiful, fresh, clean, healthy food and they're feeling strong and, all the things that they wanted to do, they're just starting to do it. But another important part about hypnosis is that I'm not fixing anyone. I can't fix you. It's a process that we do together. So it's a do with process. So for me as the hypnotherapist, it's about, using all my skills and all my knowledge to provide all the techniques and all the instructions and everything that you need as my client to get to where you want to go. But it's also your part as the client to take on all the suggestions as your own, because we would have had a discussion, we would have found out all the things that you want to do, all the changes that you want to make. So because they're laying there enjoying this beautiful experience, they're not talking, I'm the one that's doing the talking. So all the suggestions, they are theirs. I'm just speaking to them, to the subconscious mind. And so that's part of the agreement, that the client takes on those instructions, has a belief that it's going to work, and to know that they can support their own success. And, the rest is history from there. And so that's what an initial hypnosis session would look like with me, dependent on, what the outcome, is going to be for that client.
Amazing. And so you mentioned that hypnotherapy can be done online, so clients wouldn't need to necessarily come in and see you one-on-one for a session.
That's right. Yes. Well, I mean, you and I are online at the moment, so I thought I'd probably take you through just a very mini snippet of hypnosis so you can experience what it's like, and so that your clients can actually see that it does work. And yes, I work with many clients over Zoom, and in fact, in our current climate, it's the preferred way for a lot of people. It's very time saving. You don't have to get into a car and travel and find a park and all those kinds of things. So most people save an hour anyway, traveling to get to a certain place. It's still very personable. It's just like being face to face, really. In this day and age, it's very safe, and there's just no difference. And apart from everything else, it's just very convenient, and the results are exactly the same as being one-on-one. But it allows us to, and I know you do teleconsults as well, it just allows us to be able to reach more people.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, should we do a little mini hypnotherapy on me then?
Yeah, we should. Are you ready?
Right. I sure am.
Good. Now, bear in mind all the things that we talked about around following instructions and knowing that, you know, that it's okay. I can't turn you into anything. I'm just going to take you into a nice, relaxing state where all you need to do is just rest. That there are a couple of things that you need to know for hypnosis to be successful. And as I mentioned, it's just following my instructions. So for example, when I ask you to close your eyes and relax, that's the suggestion that I want you to follow. Take on all the suggestions as your own because they are suggestions that are going to benefit you and help you to get where you want to go. And if we've gone through, you know, an ultimate goal, we would have discussed those in any case. You do have to want to do this. So that's another very important part. And to know that you can commit to the process and to believe that it's going to work and that you can do everything to support your own success. So let me show you what hypnosis is like. So what I'd like you to do, Karina, is just close down your eyes now. And just take a lovely long deep breath in. And then exhale. Take another breath in when you're ready. And exhale. And one last long deep breath. Inhale. And as you exhale this time, I want you to relax all the muscles around your eyes. Relax them so that they are so relaxed that they could not possibly relax them any further. And now relax them so much that they are too relaxed to even open. And now holding on to that relaxation, test them and make sure they stay shut. Good. You can open your eyes now, Karina. How was that?
Wow. Yeah. It's funny when you said test them, and I literally felt like I was trying to open my eyes and my eyeballs were moving, but my eyelids were not moving. They were just relaxed.
I know. I could see them moving around. I could see them. Yeah. So that's hypnosis.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And so great, like you said, that it can be done online, that we don't need to meet face-to-face in order to do that and to get the full benefit of it as well, which is really, really great.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yes, I love it. And, you know, I just love taking people through hypnosis and seeing them afterwards and, you know, the amazing benefits that hypnosis can bring. And, you know, that's not all the work that we do here, you know, in my office here is that we also help them to let go of old negative emotions, like, you know, those old things, all our emotional baggage that we carry through life. Which affects us in many, many different ways and it causes health issues, as you know. You know, once we can let go of all those old emotions using a process called timeline therapy and hypnosis, helping, you know, people to understand how their mind works so that they can circumnavigate, you know, this chatter that's going on that's preventing them from doing stuff, then that they can live a life that is aligned with where they want to be in their health and, you know, in their state of mind and, you know, moving forwards through life with their relationships and their work and stuff.
Beautiful. Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Suzanne.
That's all right. Thank you, Karina. Yeah, and I just want to thank, you know, the Body Institute for looking after my clients, because I can get them a certain way with their mind, but if their body isn't working properly, you know, if there's something going on from a hormonal perspective, or a gut health, you know, IBS or SIBO, all those things, that's where, you know, you guys can identify it, and the results that they're going to get from a mind perspective and a body perspective are going to be pretty spot on. And that's where I think, you know, there's a bit missing out there in terms of this link between the mind-gut connection, you know, which affects us externally in all our body, you know, bodily functions and skin and all of those kinds of things.
Absolutely.
It's a much more holistic approach, and it's not a band-aid approach. And I think that, you know, that's the future of wellness, really. It's really working with the mind and the body.
And the body, absolutely.
Yeah, to get, you know, an overall health result. So yeah, thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it, Suzanne?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Karina, and I will see you at the next session.
Perfect. Thanks, Suzanne.
All right.